Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cornell Cooperative Extension for our monthly Consumer Issues program. My name is Mike Danaher. I'm an Assistant Attorney General with the New York State Attorney General's Office. And we meet here at Cornell Cooperative Extension on Willow Avenue in Ithaca on the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. to discuss about various consumer issues and topics that come out and that our office has seen. Today's topic is an overview, an update on consumer frauds and scams. And I think the best way to start out talking about it is to try to define what it is that is fraud or a scam. Many times it's hard to identify. And lots of times we don't even identify it until it's well down the road, or that we participate in it or actively participate in it, not knowing that, in fact, it's a scam. But really, it's an attempt to induce people to part with their money by deception, some type of deception. That deception could be an affirmative misrepresentation that someone makes, but it could also be a material omission of information. So materially, to omit a material item can also deceive people. And by its nature, because it involves deception, that we are sometimes, especially if we're not a good consumer, complicit in the event taking place. We contrast that with giving up something against our will, so that we have knowledge of what's going on and we give up whatever it is. Classic example, if somebody comes up with a weapon or something and approaches you and says, "Give me your wallet." Well, you know something bad's going to happen or is happening, and you give up your wallet, you know that something happened. Whereas if somebody convinces you to give up your wallet under false pretenses or deception or something, you may give it to them willingly rather than being forced to give it to them. And it turns out that it's a fraud. So we can be tricked into parting with our money, or we can be tricked into parting with property. We can be tricked into, in this day and age, parting with our personal information, and therefore being a victim of a fraud or a scam. In today's society, we are especially vulnerable, because think about how we do things now. I've always been of the view that we are a very convenience-based society. We want everything to be done now, quickly, not have to worry about it, not take time out of our busy schedules to have to do something. So we want things done conveniently. We want it done fast. We're all becoming more comfortable with having less face-to-face interactions with people. Example I frequently use is that it's rare that I go into a bank. Used to be the only way you get your cash is to go into the bank. Now you can go up to a machine, you punch in a few numbers, money spits out at you any time of the day. You don't have to go within banking hours, and you don't have that face-to-face dealing with a teller or another person. Here you're just dealing with a machine. We sit at our computers all the time, and computers are great. They really are great, and that we can do things. I mean, I just bought some items over the internet this past weekend and should be here shortly at my front door, and I didn't have to go to the store or anything. So we're a very convenience-based society. And as a result, we've let our guard down a little bit. We've lost some of the protections that we had in our face-to-face dealings. Some of the things being is, do we have to actually exert the effort to go to a store thinking, well, do I really need that item if I have to go all the way down the store and do it? Whereas if I can just get it on my computer and boom, we get it. We're not going down to the bank. And so, people are giving out information, their financial information and things, without somebody at the bank who in some instances can be a control saying, so are you going on a vacation? Because you come in and ask for a large withdrawal, and they would say, well, no, I've got this guy that's going to showed up at my door and says he's going to do this work on my house, and I'll get a really good deal. So I told him he'd asked me to pay him cash and just go down to the bank. And the teller can go, whoa, 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 wait a second here. Maybe you need to talk to somebody about this. So we're losing some of those stopgaps. We're also letting our guard down because nowadays there's more merchants out there than ever. You have the largest mall and we're losing our malls, actually. The studies have shown we're losing our stores and things. Brick and mortar stores, there's less of them. There's more people going online and buying things. People are dealing with each other over the internet rather than having face-to-face interactions, where a lot of times you can tell something about someone if you have a face-to-face interaction with them. And warning signs could be going off in your head, but whereas if you're just dealing with somebody over the computer, we don't really know. So all these factors together have conspired to create this fertile field that we have for scam artists. It's very difficult oftentimes to differentiate between who the legitimate person is and who the illegitimate person is when you're not dealing with them face to face. There are some warning signs that we should be aware of, and this involves personal interactions with people, interactions with people over the telephone, interactions with people over the internet or in any other way. The first thing is that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. We have to keep our wits about ourselves. We have to sit back and evaluate everything as if we were good consumers. Another warning sign, if someone is approaching you with a rush to action, got to do this right now, this deal's available in the next 5 minutes, it's not going to be there 5 minutes from now. One thing that we can do as good consumers to protect ourselves is give ourselves time. Give yourself time to think and evaluate, and then you can make a more reasoned decision rather than off the cuff an emergency, instantaneous type of transaction. Give yourself time to think about it. We always want to act like a good consumer. And what would a good consumer do? A good consumer would investigate the facts and circumstances, evaluate, and make the proper decision. One of the classic scams that we see this time of year, it's beautiful outside now, some would say finally, and there could be somebody coming up to your door, knocking on it, saying, hey, I see your driveway's chipped up. I can do it for you. I give a great price. There's a load of blacktop in the back of my truck, and I can get it taken care of for you, no problem. And if we step back and we to what we initially talked about and said, well, we're a convenience-based society, I say, oh gosh, this must be a godsend. I've been meaning to get those things fixed in the driveway, those ruts and potholes, and now somebody shows up at my door, and I don't have to call around. I don't have to get estimates. I don't have to get references. I have this person that showed up, seems very nice, and yeah, I'll do it. A good consumer who has potholes in their driveway, what would the good consumer do? The good consumer would do all of those things. They would investigate, what's the reasonable and customary charge for this type of work in my community. Typically, what is charged is the legitimate people will figure out how much work needs to be done and give you a price, usually based upon a square footage. So if they have to do the last square 20 feet or of your driveway, they can give you a price because they know what it will cost them to do what needs to be done. The problem is when these people show up, they just say, oh, I can give you a great price. And you go, okay, great price, great. And then they do it, and then all of a sudden they present you with how much it is, and you go, whoa, that was a huge price. I think I'm getting ripped off. And as a matter of fact, the work has already been done. There are some protections afforded to consumers. If people are being good consumers, they would know about this, something that we talk about here frequently at Cornell Cooperative Extension, and that is that somebody doing home improvement work, and that would be work on the premises, which would include doing a new driveway, fixing a driveway, is that the contractor must provide the consumer in advance a written proposal, written contract of what work is to be done and the total cost. And don't be swayed by somebody saying to you, well, here, let's sign this here now. It says that I'll charge you X number of dollars a square foot. Don't fall for it. They know how much the square feet is. You can go out and measure yourself and figure out how much the square footage is. So they should be able to give you a bottom line total price. To do this specific job, it's this amount of money total. Don't be led to, oh, well, you know, we really don't know yet until we get into the job. These people, the ones that know what they're doing, know exactly what needs to be done. They know exactly how much it's going to cost to do this and what you should be charged. If someone were to say to you, you know, we'll talk about it afterwards, I'll give you, no, don't do it that way, because your bargaining power, your leverage is before they start to do the work. Your leverage is always to be able to say, no, no thank you. I don't want that today. Because once you sign on, then you run into issues of what you agreed to and that sort of thing. So one of the big areas that we see, especially as the weather is nice, are people going door to door, offering to do home improvement contracts, driveways, roofs, or other things. If you need something to be done, don't let somebody else talk you into the fact that you need it done. You should know if you need the new driveway, a new roof, or anything. Get a second opinion. What would a good consumer do? Is get a second opinion. Then you can go and make an informed decision on what it is that you need to have done. There's also all types of scams associated with the use of the internet. Like I said before, internet's a great thing. It really is. I mean, you can do all kinds of research. I'll use an example of someone who gets an estimate for a car repair, something to do, which doesn't seem like it's might not be a lot of work. Somebody might say, well, I took my car in to have the oil changed, and then they told me this was wrong, and this was wrong, and this was wrong, and that was wrong, or I needed this, I needed that, I needed a filter for something. There are all types of instructions on the internet that can, for those that are inclined and able to do that sort of stuff, I'm not usually good for that sort of thing. It at least can give you an idea of what the scope of the work might be for that sort of thing. I use another example. You need a new cabin air filter for your vehicle. If you go online and you look and you find out, and the charge is going to be $99. You need because we have to go in. You can actually go online and look up your car, and there are people who post videos of how to do that repair. And I saw one the other day where the guy said, cabin air filter for a particular model vehicle, I can do that with one hand. And he actually went through, it was a video, he actually went through and changed himself his cabin air filter using one hand in 2 minutes. And the cost of the filters might be $20, and the cost of having the mechanics do was $99, and you can do it in 2 minutes with one hand. So being a good consumer evaluator, and you can look at that and you go, you know what? I see it. I'm not doing it. I'm willing to pay to have somebody do it. In my mind, that's great. That's fantastic. If that's something you're not inclined to do, at least then you're a good consumer and you know, okay, if I want to undertake this task, doesn't look too difficult, or maybe it does look difficult. I don't want to deal with it. I don't have the time. I'm willing to pay. Great, 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 great. But to say that, I just went place, I had this done, it was $99, it just seems like a lot of money and stuff like that, then it's too late because you already did it. So we have to be good consumers and be upfront with it to see, okay, explore your options, make an informed decision, and then I'm good. Everybody's, I'm good. Something in your house can be fixed. Sometimes they have stuff on the internet, which is a great thing to look at and go, that looks like that's something I could do, but I don't have 5 hours to do whatever it is. Fine, great, that's good. But at least then you can do the proper evaluation. And the use of the internet is great, but we have to keep an eye out and be wary of what it is. And there are so many scams associated with the use of the internet, and so many different combinations and permutations of things that could happen. It's hard to sit here and explain every individual one. But there are some basic things that are out there that we can discuss. When someone contacts you through the internet, emails, in this day and age with our phones, text messages and things, we need to be wary of what it is that they're asking and who it is that is contacting us. I think you need to take it with a little bit of a skeptical eye when you get an email saying that here's some new information for you. If you don't know who it is that's sending you that email, do not click on the email, and in particular, do not click on any attachments to the email. Use another personal example. My wife got an email saying, hey, do I need to really look at this? It came from something that she wouldn't have gotten anything from. It kind of had an innocuous heading to it, of where it came from, and it said, here's the information you requested. That was it. And she's sitting there saying, I don't remember requesting any information. And that's how somebody gets you. You say, oh, requested information. Okay, I'll check. And you could have clicked on something that then potentially infects your computer with a virus. Here's the updated schedule. Well, if you don't know who it's coming from, and it gets sent to you and there's something attached to it, okay, I'll check and see. I'll click on the schedule. You could have just infected your computer with something that didn't have any relevance to you. So the rule of thumb is if you don't know who it's coming from, or you don't expect it to be coming from something coming from someone, don't open it. You can lead to problems, and then people say, well, what's the worst thing that can? Well, the worst thing that can happen is it could be a virus, it could be some type of malware attached to your computer. It could be a keylogger that's attached, so that what it then picks up is every key on your computer that you click, every letter, every number that you click, it is recording it and transporting it to someone. So for example, if you bank online and you click online and there's a keylogger on your computer, they will be able to figure out that you went into your bank account, and then they get your password because they have a keylogger. So avoid that whole thing by not clicking on things that come from somebody you don't know. Also be very wary of something that comes from somebody that you purportedly know. I'll use an example that I have gotten emails from a relative. And the relative said that just the email was, here's something interesting for you. Now, that relative or relatives would not be sending me something that says this is interesting. And what that tells me is that their address book may have gotten infiltrated, and they were sending out emails to people who were on there. So it looked like it came from my relative when in fact it did not. And they're asking for you to click. So I immediately, when I see something like that, I'm not expecting something, I don't open it. I delete it. At the very least, what I'll do is I'll shoot a text message or an email back, an email to my relative saying, I got an email from you. Seems kind of strange. Did you send me something? And invariably they come back by saying, no, I didn't send anything to you. They say, well, I think your address book has maybe been compromised because they're sending emails out. So somebody asks, well, what's the big deal? The problem is it could be one of two things. It could be malware or a virus that is being sent to you, or it could be an email from someone who is going on what they refer to in computer lingo as a phishing expedition, but not F-I-S-H-I-N-G. It's a P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, which is just trolling for personal information. So it might be someone contacting you, asking you for a bit of information. It could be as bold as asking for PINs and passwords or social security numbers or other personal information. The rule of thumb in that regard is never give personal information to somebody who contacts you. Granted, if you want to contact someone to give them information, your child calls you and says, I need this particular information or something. So you know that you talk to them and you're sending it to them. At least you know that you are sending it out based on having a conversation with them. But if all of a sudden you get, if I get a text message from one of my kids and says, hey, what's your credit card number? Or what's the expiration date on your credit card? Or what's the security code on the back of your credit card? I'm not sending it to them. I don't do that because it's someone who contacted me asking for that information. I would get in touch with them ahead of time and say, hey, I received this text message, I received this email, what's the deal? And maybe they say, hey, I need the credit card for this, that, or the other thing. I say, well, I'll tell you what it is, but I'm not going to send it over the text message or email. So we have to be good consumers in approaching those sorts of things and understand what types of scams are out there. Especially to our senior citizens. Senior citizens have also become very comfortable nowadays using the internet and going online and buying things and researching things and giving information out and that sort of thing. Just be very wary. Make sure that who you are dealing with is who you expect to be dealing with and understand that you are dealing with. The rule still remains the same. You receive something from your bank saying that they need information from you. Banks and financial institutions, credit unions, they do not ask for personal information from you over the internet. They will not ask that. A lot of times there's actually a disclaimer on their website that says, we will not ask for personal information. If you should receive an inquiry asking for any type of personal information, the rule still applies, even though it appears it's from your bank or somebody else. If it's somebody that contacts you, do not give the information in reply. Contact them directly. Doesn't take much. Get on the phone. It's oftentimes hard for me to convince my kids sometimes that, you know that cell phone you carry in your wallet, in your pocket, in your back pocket, or you can actually make a call on it. Because nobody's using it to make calls. They're text messaging, they're emailing, they're going checking the internet, they're doing all that stuff. You can actually call. Call your bank and say, hey, I got this inquiry asking for my password. It's telling me that my bank, that my account's going to be closed down unless I verify certain things. I'll tell you what they're going to tell you. They're going to say, no, that's not us. It must be somebody else. And second of all, can you please forward that to us so their security personnel can look into it to see. So we need to be very careful. There's all types of scams and frauds, and going back to one of the things that we initially talked about in protecting ourselves is if it sounds too good to be true, it is. So if you get this email with this great deal, there's always, at best, strings attached to it. At worst, it's a scam. So don't be swayed no matter how great a deal it seems like, because if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Also for our seniors out there, there are scams going around that have, one in particular that has acquired its own name. It's called the grandparent scam. Somebody calls or contacts by text in this modern day and age. Grandma, Grandpa, this is your grandchild, and that for whatever reason, I'm in trouble, need your help. It can be any host of reasons. I need you to send me money. Go out and get some gift cards at a retailer or cash card, debit cards at a retailer, convenience store, whatever, so that you can send that to me. It's happening all the time. We've had many grandparents who have fallen victim to those, even within our particular region, the Binghamton region. That would include Ithaca as well. Don't fall for it. Even if the person who is contacting you sounds like your grandchild, or may have some personal information about the grandchild, because we can go back to what we talked about earlier, which is in some instances the grandchild has been a victim of identity theft. Some of their personal identification information has been acquired by somebody else, so they may have some information. They may know the name, they may know where they live, they may know where they go to school, those sorts of things. And they say, hey, this is, Grandma, this is your favorite grandson, Bobby. Yeah, I'm calling you from school at Ithaca College, and some friends of mine I was with, they got in trouble, and they brought me in. I got in trouble, and I got to pay this fine, and I got to pay it today, or I'm going to get in really big trouble. Oh, Grandma, can you really help me out? I don't want my parents to find out about it, so please don't tell them. Can you send me the money? And people are falling for that sort of thing all the time. I would hope that you'd have a good enough relationship with your child that you will call them and say, hey, Bobby called me and said this and this. We've had that happen before, and the child has said, Bobby's sitting right here watching TV, playing video games or something. So it is a scam or a fraud. Do not fall for it. Again, give yourself time. If somebody calls and offers this great offer, or wants you to make a donation or anything like that, give yourself time to think about it. A good rule of thumb I tell people is try and step back from the situation. And put yourself in the shoes of someone else. Let's assume a friend of yours comes up to you and says, I just received a telephone call saying that I won a lottery. And they say, in order for me to claim my prize, I just have to send money to this particular address, and I'm going to win the prize. If somebody came to you and said that to you, what's the first thing you're going to say to them? You're going to say, that sounds a little fishy. So you yourself should say, that sounds a little fishy. Give yourself time. If they say, well, look, you have to claim your prize right now. If you don't, that $1 million is going to be gone. My advice to you is to say, c'est la vie. I never had the $1 million to begin with, so I'm not going to rush into something right now. Same thing, charitable solicitation. Somebody contacts you, wants to make an immediate donation. Give yourself time to think about it. One good way to do that is send me the information in the mail. I'm not going to commit to anything right now. Send me the information in the mail. And if they're willing to do that, give you time to think about it, then you can make an informed decision appropriately. Other types of scams and frauds that are out there, especially with the use of the internet, work-at-home scams. Get an email saying, hey, you can earn a little extra cash, you can do things from home, or you can be a secret shopper going to a store. And again, you were contacted by email. It sounds too good to be true. Hey, this is easy money. I could use a few extra dollars. If that were the case and that was available out there, don't you think many people would already have signed up for that sort of thing? Why are they contacting you all of a sudden? It sounds too good to be true. It probably is. There are other things, payday loans, which are quick, fast, easy loans. Again, we're convenience-based. Why should I have to go to the bank? I can just fill out this thing, this email that I got. Usually they're scams. Usually they involve identity theft because they take all of your personal information, name, address, social security number, where you work, where you bank, where you have money, how much money do you have, what credit cards do you have, what are the balances on the credit cards, what are the credit card numbers, all those things. That's all personal information. And they're asking for that information. Don't give it out to someone who contacts you. There are all types of sweepstakes out there. Again, it sounds too good to be true. You just won X number of dollars. First of all, you have to ask yourself, did I ever enter? People are getting notified that they won these sweepstakes. They never entered in the first place. So how are you going to win if you don't enter? And nothing is for free. They'll ask for personal information. They'll continue to send you inquiries about. It could be that, let's put it in quotes, legitimate. Legitimate. You can win a free pizza. You think, hey, what's the big deal? I love pizza. Get a free pizza. Well, you don't just get free pizzas. At the very least, you're going on somebody's mailing list from now on, or that mailing list will be sold to others. Or you'll be inundated from the pizza place with repeated offers of different things to where it's just coming all the time. If that's what you want, that's great. But understand, the pizza isn't free. You may get this one free, but there's a cost, a long-term cost associated with it. Marketers use it all the time, and that's fine. It's okay. I don't think it's a problem. I followed up some in the past. Maybe I did get a free pizza. But what you have to be aware of is that in most instances, there is a cost associated. It may not be the upfront cost right there. Typical. Free vacation. Free vacation. Down to one of 20 resorts that we have. It's a three-day, 2-night stay, and it's courtesy of us. You think that's free? Usually you have to go to some type of presentation for several hours where they put a hardcore press on you to buy a timeshare, buy a unit in the timeshare. Whereas they don't want you leaving that room unless you sign up for something that is a cost. So is that really free? So there are a whole host of things out there. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me that I get those solicitations where it says, telephone call, hey, you've been the winner of a all-expense paid trip for 3 nights and 4 days or whatever. And I'll say to them, I'm not interested, no thank you. What, you don't want this for free? And I say, look, I know it's not free. I know that there are things associated with it. I'm being signed up for something. I have to go to some type of presentation. I'm not interested. But somebody else might be. I'll go. I'll listen to them. the important thing is that you know that you're getting into something if that happens. So nothing's for free. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and you should avoid it. The bottom line comes down to we need to be good consumers. We need to know all the terms and conditions of anything that we sign up for. Be wary, have a skeptical eye, do your due diligence like any good consumer would do. And if you do that, you will go a long way toward protecting yourself so that you don't fall victims to frauds or scams. Again, there's a whole host of those out there. It's impossible to go through every one all the time, but be a good consumer. And if you have any questions about it, if something doesn't ring true, or you need a little different information, or you need an independent voice giving you some guidance, feel free to contact my office, which is the New York State Attorney General's office. It's for those of you that would like to call us, it's 1-800-771-7755. The easier thing is just go online and look up New York State Attorney General's office, and you can navigate our website, and I'll give you the website in a second, but a lot of people can just go to do a general internet search out of your favorite browser, and use Bing or Google or whatever else is out there, and just put in New York State Attorney General's office. But it's for those of you that want to go directly, it's www.ag.ny.gov. If you go on the website and look at our website, then you can see how you can contact us. Our number's there. We can be emailed. We're high tech now, so you can send us emails, and you can send us complaint forms over the internet, and you can do all that sort of thing. Any questions, feel free to call us. We'd be glad to answer those questions. If anybody has any questions regarding scams, frauds, or anything, I'd be glad to answer them. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. Those of you that are out in television land, come on in. Come visit us, second Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. We're here on Willow Avenue at the Cornell Cooperative Extension Building. It's always great when we have people join us, and hopefully we will see you sometime at one of our sessions. Thank you.